Welcome to the KFiles. Today we are investigating the first Hallween Redux episode, the spooky Our Town. Cannibals. It's cannibals. Welcome back to the spookified Lush Basement office. It's Hallween Redux. Hallween Redux going on. We're all Halloween, all October here at Hollywood Redux, so definitely stay tuned for all our other shows and sketches and surprises that we're doing throughout that period. But on the XFiles, we're taking a look at all the spookiest episodes during the Halloween time. The horror episodes of the show, the scariest monsters, the most frightening notions to conceive of in our social
It's Halloween,
world.
you guys. We're just doing it all. Let's just say that.
Well, geez, I mean, I don't know about that. I'm not, look, she said that. I make no guarantees. I'm just telling you, it's going to be the scariest stuff. That's all. So, you call her if you have any complaints.
We'll talk. We'll have a conversation.
That's my disclaimer. We're talking about Our Town, one of the Cannibal episodes of the show, filed under C for cannibalism. You can see, you can see also some tribal elements as well that we see on the show again in like Arcadia in the 6th season. There's some other episodes that look at tribal influences on American culture and what that means. Typically, like small towns that have weird things that compel them to utilize these magics.
Weird doesn't even begin to like
Mr. Chaco. Yeah, Mr. Chaco of Chaco Chicken, for example, who led his entire town down a cannibalistic path that involves not just human cannibalism, but also chicken cannibalism, which is probably the scariest part of the whole episode, I think, for me anyway.
I can't believe this actually aired on television. Like,
well, this episode itself isn't that scary. The notions of in it are
but like Fox showed
me
a lot on the XFiles, man. Like, that's insane. That was pretty gruesome to watch. I would have been terrified if I was a kid and that thing came on. Like
the scenes in the factory with
the scenes
Paula
in the factory
Chaco, where the dead chickens are whirring by.
The masked man, or like the masked reaper. What else? Like the
Speaking
bonfire.
Of that masked guy, that actor who plays the sheriff, who is the masked tribal mask guy. He's also in the X-Files again in Fight the Future. He's the sheriff in Fight the Future. We've had a lot of double casting recently.
The fact that the X-Files brings a lot of these great actors back.
They recycle actors a lot on the show
because they totally belong in the X-Files. You know, it's like they play such a great role.
Yeah, file under R for recycled actors. But they use guys with really great faces. Well, men and women. I mean, like dudes, guys, bros. They use people with great faces. They use people who are character actors, who are not just a beautiful... You see a lot of really beautiful faces on TV right now, really polished, really smoothed. And people on the X-Files, actors on the X-Files, have faces, have authentic faces, and they're not... tens. They're not in People magazine, but they're actual people, and it lends it more authenticity to the show because we're going to all these small towns and we're seeing real people populated by actors who are real people. It's nice. It's an added layer of the show that I think offers it a benefit over a lot of current fare. But this episode overall, I would say, while it does have some scary ideas, I don't know that it's necessarily like top of the X-Files class for me a little bit, but it was written by Frank Spotnitz. We'll get into it. Look, we'll talk about it. We'll dissect it. It was written by Frank Spotnitz, who typically writes the mythology, Right. He's Chris Carter's main mythology man, and this was his first standalone Monster of the Week episode, and he has spoken about it. He said it was inspired by a number of things, but one of which was this notion of chickens eating other chickens in their feed, which to him was the germ of that idea was horrific enough to write this entire episode.
Yeah, that's pretty disturbing to think about. If you take a second, just don't. Don't.
It's really gross too, the way they really show it to you. It makes you really see that
they did not hold back at all. Nicely done, X-Files. Way to gross us out, man.
Pretty gruesome, and it's all really like practical. They made that chicken meal out of real elements that make it look like it's really like ground up like bone and beak and stuff. Pretty gnarly. So it's it's a very scary one though. It's got some scary stuff. Like we were talking about the factory floor where Paula Chaco's having all of those hallucinations, and that's one element too. I think that pretty much solidifies this episode as like an anti-cannibalism ad, is that everybody who eats in Chaco, everybody who partakes of the human feast gets this terrible degenerative Creutzfeldt-Jakob disease, which it
was pretty rough. Like,
if I'm not mistaken, I think that's a really rare disease they mention again on the show. I'm pretty sure that's what Mulder's mother contracts in the 7th season. When I know it's some disfigurative thing like that. But anyway, so X-Files likes Creutzfeldt-Jakob. Who knows? It's maybe they just like saying it in the writer's room because it is like a delightful little, just trips off the tongue, Creutzfeldt-Jakob. Anyway, so yeah, it's like basically a PSA for anti-cannibalism. This is why we don't have cannibalism, kids.
It made me really reconsider not to eat chicken for like a little bit.
This is why we don't eat chicken.
Yeah,
kids,
that's
anymore.
why we don't eat chicken.
It's twofold, really.
Yeah. Especially on an empty stomach, man. Just don't do it.
Yeah, directed by Rob Bowman, we should say, our big cinematic director on the show. We just investigated an episode last week, or recently, that was a we've done a lot of Kim Manners episodes. He's a prolific one. But when
episodes, like...
Sure. When you look at a Kim Manners episode and then you watch it next to a Rob Bowman episode, two of the most prolific X-Files directors, you can really compare and contrast how they differently illuminate different colors in the characters, different colors in the show even. Like Kim Manners directs very emotionally. The characters within each other's spaces is very strategic and is a window into what's going on emotionally with the characters. It feels very Twin Peaks, noir, dreamy. You really are aware of the shadows more than the light a lot of the time in Kim Manners episodes. Whereas with a Rob Bowman episode, you get these really beautiful cinematic frames where maybe you're not as up close and personal with the characters, but you get to see huge set pieces. You get to see the characters. You still get these really wonderful tableaus with the characters. He's one of the ones who frames Mulder and Scully / Duchovny and Anderson just so beautifully to where they have these like really wonderful like interlocking moments in front of the camera. So you get, it's fun. It's really fun to see these two directors really working in their prime, although in the earlier parts of the show you can see them ramping up to their prime, like in this episode in the 2nd season. Yeah, this is a 2nd seasoner. We've been bebopping all around because we had virtual reality going on. We wanted to definitely take advantage of that on the X-Files because there are some great VR related episodes. And then now coming into Halloween, it's like we got to take a break from the previously scheduled programming to
I'm pretty pumped
do
for
some
this
horror
Halloween
episodes.
schedule, you guys.
Yeah, lots of good horror episodes. This one's pretty horrific. I don't know.
A great start, that's for sure.
It's a bold choice. Anti-chicken eating for Halloween. Eat candy, don't eat chicken, I guess, would be the moral of the story. What are your final thoughts? What do you think?
My final thoughts? Look, man, the X-Files has impressed me so much, and the fact that they actually showed this type of episode on air was pretty bold, man. Like, for its time.
This was like 1995 also when this aired.
What was this, like 9 o'clock when it aired?
It was on Friday nights. It was on Friday nights.
God, I would love to have been one of the audience members at that time, especially kids, like trying to see that episode in particular. Don't eat chicken.
Don't eat chicken.
I'm so horrified with this episode, like.
Yeah. Well, I started to mention it's maybe not one of the top of the class X-Files. One of the reasons that I say that is because, I don't always love the trope ending of Scully in peril. And so the Scully in peril ending for me sometimes feels a little tired. Although I always love seeing her save the day, so maybe I'm biased. But and the other thing too, I think, is that the score for me in this episode is a little bit low energy. Maybe is the characteristic. It just feels to me that Mr. Snow maybe didn't do anything new. He kind of did he had maybe an option to do some tribal stuff, and he kind of did the same like horn stuff he does for tribal things later on in
I can see that
the show a little bit. I don't know. But, Mark Snow does so much work throughout so much music throughout the run of the series that you have to wonder if maybe sometimes he wasn't just sort of like, here we go, another cannibalism, like, like eating a donut.
I like the fact that he was eating a donut while doing it. It's the little things, man.
things one imagines while watching the X-Files for 20 plus years. All right, well, that is Our Town, not to be confused with the Thornton Wilder play Our Town. This is definitely a very different story, so
Totally different.
Don't tune in thinking you're getting like a charming tale of coming of age in the 20th century. This is different. Well, that's it for the KFiles. I think we've shined that flashlight beam about 1,000 ways.
I think we've shown very well, Katie.
Sunday. Thank you for tuning in. We're doing Halloween on Hollywood Redux all October long, so stay with us. We've got some cool stuff going on our other podcasts, The Writer's Room, IGL. We have lots of surprises for you, giveaways even. So
guys, just stay tuned.
Subscribe to the YouTubes below, and check us out on Facebook. Like us on Facebook.
Up. Like us, please.
Yeah, like us if you like us.
Comment,
do all of the activities. Watch the videos that are going to be, if not already, soon popping up
right over there
next door. And hashtag Hallween Redux for any spooky stuff that you'd like to share with us. All right, the truth is already here. We'll see you next week.
See you guys.
Goodbye.